Far too often, when it comes to reporting on true crime and the horrific things that people do to each other in the true crime genre, I get so jaded, and so does the viewership out there. We become so jaded because of all the horrific things that happen, and we never hear anything that balances it out. We never hear about the good stories and the good interactions that take place out there in this world. Today I want to tell you about a crime that was committed and could have had horrific outcome, but luckily, calmer heads prevailed. A series of bad, horrific decisions were made by one individual, but in the end, it's a feel-good story. A story that plays out every day in America and is crime related, but in this case, we have a happy ending. Thank you for joining me today. So for today's story, we're going to Union County, Oregon. Now, in case you live somewhere else in the world, Oregon is one of 3 states in the United States that borders the western coast, the Pacific Ocean side of the United States. It goes Washington, Oregon, California along the west coast. Oregon, in this particular place, Union County, Oregon, is a rural area with, it has families who work in different industries. They are doing everything they can, just like in other parts of the United States, anything they can to get by. But on this day in particular, last week, an individual was out running errands that day when he made an illegal right turn. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, he did not use his turn signal properly to make a right-hand turn. It just so happens that an Oregon State Patrol officer happened to see him make this turn without signaling. No, there was no collision, there was no accident, no close encounter with another vehicle. He just forgot to make the turn by using his turn signal. So the officer pulled up behind him and tried to stop him to find out, why didn't you use your turn signal? Maybe issue him a small citation for this, minor traffic offense. That wasn't going to happen. Not with this man. This man had outstanding warrants for his arrest, and he had no money to pay for those warrants to get out of jail. And the case was going to turn awful if he went to jail, because he was the primary breadwinner in the family. So, they're making a quick decision on what to do. He decided to flee. He accelerated his car to over 90 miles an hour, going through town and then into the outer parts of town through a rural area, trying to shake these officers any way he could. Speeding past businesses and homes at an excessive rate of speed, well over 3 times the actual limit that is posted for going in that area. He tried evasive maneuvers, speeding around corners, going into oncoming traffic lanes, anything to get these officers to call off their chase. Well, unfortunately for this individual, the radio in the police car works a lot faster than he can drive his car. So, after more officers from the Oregon State Patrol joined in, along with the sheriff's department, they sped up and they caught him, and they ended up doing evasive maneuvers to stop him from putting the entire community, himself and other officers and everybody else's lives in danger. The traffic portion of this came to an end. He was stopped. He had nowhere to go with his car anymore. So, making another series of unfortunate and somewhat questionable decisions, he opened the door of his car and took off running. running as fast as he could, hoping that they wouldn't be able to catch him on foot. Unfortunately for him, though, the radio again came into action and was able to summon more officers in the direction that he was going, and he was eventually caught by the Union County Sheriff's Department. But the part that was tragic here is what was taking place before the traffic stop was even tried to be initiated. In the back seat of his car, this man had his son, his little boy. His little boy. So not only was he putting his life at risk, he was putting the lives of the officers, anyone in the community in that area. But he was putting his son's life at risk. And ladies and gentlemen, it was his birthday. That little boy turned 7 years old that day. And all he wanted was to be with his daddy and celebrate his birthday that day. Officers who stayed with the boy and the others went on the chase for his father. While talking with him, they found out it was his birthday. And they asked him, what did he have planned for his birthday? And he had nothing planned except for to spend the day with daddy. You see, even at the age of 7, the tender age of 7, this little boy knew that mommy and daddy had no money. They had no money for gifts. They had no money to buy birthday, fixings, cake and ice cream and such. They knew, and the little boy knew that, mommy and daddy have hard times have really hit the family. So, the officers, after his father was arrested and on his way to jail, the four Oregon State Patrol officers gathered together and decided, today's this boy's birthday. We need to make sure that this boy has a happy birthday today. And whatever we can do to make it better. Quickly gathering what cash they had on them, they asked the little boy if there was one gift in this world, present-wise, besides his daddy being there, if there was a gift that he wanted. He said he's always wanted a remote control monster truck. The officers, with their own money and money from the Oregon State Patrol Care Fund, went and got him this monster truck. They bought him a sheet cake, birthday cake, that had his name on it that said happy birthday. They bought him ice cream, party supplies, party hats, and everything else that they could think of that this little boy needed to have a happy 7th birthday. See, in this world, there is good stories out there. There are people who still care, who will do the next right thing. In true crime, too often, we fixate and get lost on the horrific things that people do to each other. But we have to remember that there are good people out there with a heart of gold who will do anything they can to help their communities and to help, especially in this case, this little boy to have a happy birthday. Dad, he's got his own problems right now. He's got warrants that he's going to have to answer to, plus the additional charges of eluding and escape and reckless driving and reckless endangerment because he had his 7-year-old son in the back seat of that car. He put more than just himself at risk that day. His future, his hope, his son. But a happy ending all the same. Thank you for joining me today. And you have a terrific week.